7. This is the news at 4.
The debate over the affordable housing protest outside the old Ada County Courthouse is going to court. Today, the governor's office announced the state of Idaho is filing a lawsuit against the protesters. The goal, to shut down the protest and get the protesters off state property.
The injunction says the protesters are using the state property as a tent city, not an expression of speech. And our Andrew Bartline has read through that injunction and spoken with some of the protesters. Andrew, where does the situation stand?
Well, the protesters have occupied the old Ada County Courthouse lawn since the middle of January. In the court precedent, it says that the state law supports their right to protest for more affordable housing, low barrier shelters for homeless people. But the state says their actions are not symbolic and that camping on that land is against the law. He goes by Razor, and he's been protesting on the old Ada County Courthouse lawn since January.
People on the street, yes. I feel like the citizens of Boise have heard us.
It's a call for more affordable housing and low barrier shelter options. A call Razor and other protesters say falls on deaf ears with state lawmakers, despite being within earshot.
None of them have been brave enough to come here to the protest and talk with us directly, to see the people that need their help the most.
Governor Brad Little's office announced the state is filing a lawsuit against the protesters and the organizing group known as Boise Mutual Aid. The injunction cites the protesters are, quote, abusing the Capitol Annex by littering with feces, vomit, urine, rotting food, needles, alcohol containers, and cigarette butts. Central District Health inspected the protest on February 22nd. CDH Public Health Program Manager Mike Reno tells KTVB in an email his team observed what appeared to be dog vomit, human waste, and urine stains on the building. Reno says, quote, CDH's opinion was that the encampment site did pose a risk to public health.
They've seen us here for over 2 months. If they're so concerned about our bathroom usage, why don't they go and put a porta pot on site for us to use to minimize that health and safety issue?
The injunction cites a 2013 federal court ruling that allows these symbolic protests on state land. However, the state has the right to ban the act of camping, defined as sleeping, cooking, storing personal belongings, and more.
Yes, we're homeless. So therefore, we have no choice but to bring our personal belongings with us.
Idaho State Police troopers have patrolled the protest since the start, removing camping items including blankets, sleeping bags, and propane tanks. Through the injunction, the state is asking for a court order to fully remove the protest from the Capitol Annex lawn.
How is that right? How is that defending the people?
And until a court ruling, Razor and other protesters say they aren't leaving and they want to be heard.
We're trying to keep things picked up, but we can only do so much when we have no support from the state.
The Attorney General's office says they will not comment on pending litigation, but the injunction says there is shelter availability at the Boise Rescue Mission. Throughout the protests, we've reported there are open beds at the mission, but protesters told us again today they want low barrier shelters, and they believe the Boise Rescue Mission has too many rules.
Andrew, thanks. Another story that we will, of course, continue to follow as it develops and see what happens with this latest lawsuit. Andrew, thank you. Not an easy